Hi there, YouTubers. Just want to talk to you guys today about a coming crisis in oil. Um, some of you may be aware of peak oil. Well, I'll start by talking about that just a little bit. Peak oil is basically the point at which you have the globe, the world has used half of the recoverable oil, half of all recoverable oil. Now, how do we know how much oil is recoverable in the world? Every country has geologists that are trying to find out how much oil is there. And the governments of those countries find out how much the geologists are saying, and then they report this through one means or another. And so there are estimates about how much oil all these different countries have. And when you total all that up, um, you can then divide it by two and find out when you hit peak oil with that halfway point. Okay? So, a lot of people are saying 2006 was peak oil, the point of halfway point. Other people are saying, it's more like 2011, 2012. Point is, it's past. We're past that point, okay? So, anyway, um, the first half largely was what we call conventional oil. Predominantly, you drill a hole in the ground, oil come gushing out. Okay, conventional oil. And then more recently, we've gotten to where a lot of the conventional oil wells are drying up. We start using new procedures such as fracking, which involves a lot of groundwater and chemicals they pump down into the ground. Now, once it's down there, the water's gone because it's got to go so deep into the ground you just can't get it back out. Okay, so it uses up a lot of fresh water. Okay, and fresh water is another limited supply. Shale oil is very polluting. If you think shale oil is the answer, check out here on YouTube. Find out more about shale oil. Okay, but we're doing this stuff right now. Why? Because we're past that halfway point. We're running out of the conventional oil. We got to start doing some unconventional things. Okay? The conventional oil wells just aren't keeping up. And $100 a barrel, that's a lot of incentive to go out there and try to get at whatever oil you can out of the ground. It's a lot of incentive. Those incentives will go up. As the demand for oil goes up, the price will start to ease up a little bit, and the producers will go after even more unconventional oil. Now, shale oil is not going to come along very quickly because it requires a lot of infrastructure. Okay? And it is very energy intensive, by the way. And as I said, very polluting. But we're going to see more oil producers come online as the price goes up. For now. Okay? But there will reach a point at which the price is going up so quickly that the oil producers start to look at this another way, and they start to say, well, I might be getting $150 a barrel of oil, but next year I'm going to get $200 a barrel. And that's like money in the bank if I leave it in the ground. If I extract it, sell it, put the money in the bank, I actually have less money next year than what I would if I left it in the ground and brought it out next year. So what will happen, you'll start to see some of the producers start to shut down. And when some of the producers start to shut down, the other producers are going to start saying, wait a minute, why am I the only one producing? Why don't I shut mine down? Because I don't want to be the only producer out there. And what will then happen, you'll have a calamity that can only be resolved by all the governments in the world getting together and cooperating on an agreement to reduce consumption and get the producers back online. It will actually force the producers to produce the oil, but under an agreement in which prices are set, consumption is set, and production is set. Okay? So to try to make everybody happy. But that won't be easy. That will take time for all that to work out. Maybe three to 6 months, optimistically, could be years otherwise. And if it goes on for years, the world will change so dramatically. Okay? Now, what will be the effect? The effect will be largely on food, primarily. And then, most dramatically on food. And then on transportation, secondarily, as far as your personal transportation. Obviously, shipments of food and other products are going to be heavily impacted. But food is very energy dependent because of the fertilizer, the cost of planting, harvesting, shipping to the factories, then from the factories to the grocers. A lot of energy, a lot of oil-based products were involved in doing all that. Now, what about this time frame I'm talking about? 10 to 15 years. That's what I'm talking about. Some people are saying 1 to 2 years. Okay? I'm saying it's 10 to 15 years out. As I said, increasing production, increasing consumption going on right now. We used, out of that 50%, the vast majority of it was used in the last 40 to 50 years. So if you say we used, say 38% in the last, 50 years. Let's use that number. You're looking at roughly 8.5%, 9% per decade. But production and consumption are going up. We're going to use about 10% of the global supply in the next decade. Okay? So, roughly. And we don't know if we just hit 50% or we're more like 55% right now. Okay? And so, anyway, in a decade, in 10 years, we're going to be at about 60% of the oil used to 65%. Okay? In 15 years, 65% to 70%. Okay? When you're somewhere in that window, you've used so much of the conventional oil, you're almost you've really put a big strain on the conventional oil. It's past the breaking point. The unconventional oil is trying to come on and take the place of it, and you finally get to the point where you got this inflation going on, and the inflation is steady and it's consistent, and the producers start to look at the oil like money in the bank, oil on the ground like money in the bank. And what do you do with money in the bank? You sit there and you draw interest on it. That's when the crisis will hit. Maybe these people are saying 1 to 2 years are right. Actually, we might be better off if they are right. Because if they're right, we deal with the situation now. It's a little bit easier. Because once we hit this major crisis that I'm talking about, it's going to be very difficult. So what's the solution? Start learning how to garden. Maybe this year you don't do so good, but at least get started. Next year, do a little bit better, and just keep getting better and better at it. It's just, some people might say, well, why are you messing with that garden? Just do it and be ready. Get your neighbors ready. Because if they're not ready, then they're going to be coming to you saying, hey, I know you've got these extra, I know you don't have any extra food here or whatever, but, Boy, we could sure use some, get them all involved. They got to start to see that everybody needs to wake up and realize this is going to happen. The other thing, your car, you want a fuel efficient car, because probably what's going to happen when they finally reach this global consensus, that I'm talking about, where you can have gasoline again, you know, probably what they're going to be talking about is no cars that get poor fuel economy. No cars that get, let's say, less than 40 miles per gallon. Okay? You just can't have those cars on the road. No plates. Can't get plates. That's what they'll say. So, anyway, there's just some ideas there on what you could do. Think about, be prepared, and you can't say you didn't. Nobody warned you now. So get ready. All right, I'm signing off here. Good day, YouTube.